Hey Muses, welcome back to my channel. We all know how important it is to work smarter, not harder. Figuring out how to work smarter, however, is easier said than done, especially if you have chronic fatigue or any type of disability for that matter. By the end of this video, you'll understand the Pareto Principle, diminishing returns, and the 5 questions you need to ask yourself in order to truly work smarter and not harder. If you struggle with chronic and mental illness and want to go from stuck to unstoppable, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. On a call inside my coaching membership last week, I helped my members learn how to better value both their time and their energy so they can start leading more productive and fulfilling lives without overworking themselves. The incredible shifts they experienced during that call made me want to share some of that magic with you here today. So let's get started. The first thing that you need to understand in order to work smarter and not harder is the Pareto Principle, otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. This rule states that 80% of your results come from only 20% of your effort. What does that look like in practice? Here are a few examples. 80% of your symptom relief comes from only 20% of your symptom management efforts. 80% of your relationship satisfaction comes from only 20% of your relationships. 80% of your profit as an entrepreneur comes from only 20% of your customers. And lastly, 80% of your unhappiness comes from only 20% of your experiences. This is great news because the Pareto Principle essentially means that 80% of the good things in your life come from only 20% of what you do. The majority of your happiness and fulfillment comes from the minority of your actions, which means conversely that the majority of your actions only contribute to 20% of your happiness and fulfillment, meaning those actions have diminishing returns. Google defines diminishing returns as proportionally smaller profits or benefits derived from something as more money or energy is invested in it. So what does this mean when you're trying to work smarter and not harder? It means that your first priority is to determine which 20% of your effort contributes to 80% of your desired outcomes, and then make those efforts even more efficient. And your second priority is to determine which 80% of your effort has diminishing returns and spend less time and effort on them or eliminate them altogether. Before I guide you through 5 questions to help you work smarter and not harder, comment below and tell me which 20% of your effort today has brought you the majority of your happiness for the day. Taking advantage of the 80-20 rule can be helpful for everyone, but it can be particularly game-changing for those of us with any type of disability, such as chronic fatigue, chronic illness, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, trauma, ADHD, or autism. Because when you have a disability, you have less capacity, aka spoons, than those who are able-bodied or neurotypical. And when you have less capacity, it's that much more important to make what little capacity you have contribute directly to your happiness and fulfillment as much as possible. So here are the questions to ask yourself in order to start working smarter and not harder. Question 1. What results or outcome do you want to experience more of? Question 2. What 20% of your current efforts contribute to 80% of that outcome or result? Question 3, how can you become even more efficient at that 20% of effort? Can you learn or master a new skill? Can you buy a tool? Can you invest in a service? Question 4, which 80% of your efforts result in diminishing returns? And question 5, how can you spend less time on those 80% of your efforts that result in diminishing returns? Let's look at an example of this thought process in action. I recently bought a teleprompter. Hello, teleprompter. And it has revolutionized my productivity in creating videos for this channel. But how did I come to that decision? Why was the almost $200 purchase worth it for me and my small but growing business? Let's go question by question through this decision. 100% of my new clients in 2021 have found me through YouTube. This means that of all my social media marketing efforts, my videos are clearly the most important part. 2. The question then became, how can I get more efficient at making weekly videos? I started by looking at which part of the process cost me the most spoons. And before getting my teleprompter, that part was filming. I would sit in this chair, the blood draining to my potsy feet and exhausting me, for upwards of 2 hours each week because I would have to memorize parts of my script and do take after take after take. The solution? A one-time purchase of this teleprompter. Now I can film my videos in less time than it takes to do my makeup beforehand. AKA, instead of hours, each video takes me less than 15 minutes to film, and it's even faster for me to edit now too. As for the 80% of my marketing efforts that weren't contributing to me getting new clients, things like daily Instagram posts and fancy email newsletters, I stripped all that way down and now use the same copy from my YouTube video description in all of those places and post less. Working smarter, not harder for the win. Now you know all about the Pareto Principle, diminishing returns, and the 5 questions you can ask yourself to start working smarter and not harder. But what about procrastination, you ask? What about resistance? You screech into the void. If you struggle with procrastination and resistance, I highly recommend checking out my free masterclass where I teach you 3 mindset shifts and 1 simple 3-step system to help you kick procrastination to the curb. All you have to do to get access is go to the link in the description box below and sign up. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe, and be sure to share it with your friends. I'll be back next week with another video. See you then. Bye!